Okay, here we are. We're on spot 3. We're parked on the spot. What we're going to do is we're going to lift up. First we check to make sure there's nobody around us, and then we go ahead and raise the ship. And then we're going to ask Tower for permission to go, and once Tower tells us it's okay, we're going to go ahead and proceed with our upwind leg, where we're starting to build up speed. We're still below the effective translational lift speed, but now we're going to get there, and once we do, we're going to see a little shudder. There we go, the nose pitched down. Now we're going a little bit faster. We're up to about 40 knots. We're going to get up to about 45 knots. Here's spot 4, and we're going to start to get some altitude. We're starting to rise. You can kind of tell there's more sky than ground, and we're going up to about 300 feet above ground level. By the time we reach this concrete pad, which is the beginning of our crosswind turn, we should be at about 300 feet above ground level. We've checked to make sure there's nobody else taking off on the runway next to us. Now we're going to check to the left, check to the right, and start our turn. This is our crosswind turn. We're really going from that concrete pad to an antenna, which is very difficult to see. Once we get to the antenna, we should be about 450 to 500 feet above ground level, which is about 3,100 feet. And when we get to that point, here we are. We're going to make sure that we're the only thing in the sky, and then we're going to go ahead and make our downwind turn. Once we start our downwind turn, we're going to check our gauges to make sure that everything is green for the eventual landing. We're going to look at the landing zone to make sure there's nobody there, and we're going to make sure that everything's ready, nothing's out of whack. We're just flying along somewhere around 75 knots, which is about 85 miles an hour, on our way towards an eventual landing. What we're going for is we're looking for this little white building, which is directly in front of us, and it is on the edge of a parking lot, and that's about where we make our turn to go for the base leg of the pattern. And as you can see, this little white thing right in front of us is where we're going to be making the turn. Also in the horizon, just a little bit above the compass and a third of the way to the right of the center line, is the casino, the Desert Sun or Desert Diamond Casino. Little white building almost underneath us. We're probably going to take another 5 or 6 seconds to get directly over it before making the turn. And here we're going to now look and make sure we're still the only thing up in the sky. Last thing we want is to run into somebody else. And we're going to make our turn. This is the base leg, or the third leg. And as we make the turn, we're going to be over the Alpha 5 taxiway. We're going to get a little bit closer to the runways, and then we're going to make sure that we're still the only ones around, and then make our turn to final and approach again spot 3, hoping to land reasonably close, if not exactly on the spot. So there's nobody here. We're kind of having a slow day. We make our turn. At this point, we've dropped to about 2,900 feet, and we're set up for a normal approach. We're going to start to decelerate and also continue to lose altitude. The idea being that we want to maintain speed at all times, just because if there's an engine failure or some other problem, we have airspeed that we can trade for the ability to slow us down at the very end. If we had no airspeed, if we lost engine, we would plummet out of the sky, and that's not a good thing. So yes, we can hover, but we prefer to come in this way. Here we are, we're approaching our area of the taxiway, which we pretend is the runway. Spot 3 is about to become visible. About this point, we're about 50-60 feet up in the air. We're aligned over the runway. Airspeed is coming down. We're probably about 35 knots. Now about 30. And here's our spot. We're aiming right for the spot. We got it. Notice the nose did not come up because we did not need to flare. Our airspeed reduction was perfect. No, a little more to the right. There you go. Now bring it down. Good boy.